Joining us now, the Cubs president, Theo Epstein. And big day yesterday, brought in Joe Madden, introduced him to the media. They went to the Cubby Bear, a bar just around the corner. What was the bar tab there, Theo, by the end of the press conference?
Well, you know how sports writers like free food and free drink. So when Joe offered up the shot and a beer, it was like a stampede towards the bar. But Joe took care of it. It was a good time had by all.
You reach out to Joe reach out to you, or through his intermediaries? How did this process begin?
Yeah, the first thing I got was an email from Joe's agent, Alan Nero, the day he opted out, just saying, hey, he's opted out of his contract. He's a free agent. And I didn't really believe it, so I called Major League Baseball just to verify, and then they verified that he was free to talk to other teams. His contract had been terminated, so that's how it started. And then next thing you know, I'm sitting in an RV park outside Pensacola, Florida, sitting on the beach with Joe, having a beer, talking about the Cubs.
What makes him the right guy?
He's pretty unique in that he's an old school baseball guy. 30 years scouting and in the minor leagues, but with new school sensibilities. Obviously, does a great job working with data and analytics with that great Tampa Bay group down there. But I think more than that, it's really his personality. I mean, he's just a genuine, positive, upbeat guy who loves life, is intellectually curious, loves to connect with people, and he's got an infectious personality. I think just when you spend time around him, as I'm sure you have, you find yourself like sitting up in your chair, getting excited, more energetic than usual, more positive than usual, and wanting to go out and make a difference for the Cubs. I found myself enthusiastic just being around the last couple of days, and that's how the players react too. And so it's probably no coincidence that players go out and they play hard for each other, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts at the end of the year. And this is a tough place to manage. They told me when I got here, they said, look out for your managers, because that opening day press conference might be the last. That's the best they look. When 3-4 years later when they leave, it's like you're carting them off. They look like they've aged 10 years, like presidents do.
Why is it so tough?
But, I don't know. I think it's a combination of the history here, which is similar to what we had in Boston when we hadn't won in 86 years, and then just the expectation that things are going to go wrong. It's that lovable losers tag that we're trying to shed. That's tough because it almost creates a culture where losing is accepted, and we fight that every day. And then you've got, it's a big media market, obviously, and there's some cynicism with the media around here with respect to the Cubs and their chances. Wrigley Field has a lot of physical limitations. The day games create a real grind. So I think it's a combination of all those factors. Joe's the perfect antidote for that. Because
you have the games in the sunshine. That's part of the allure of Wrigley Field. But if you had your druthers, how many? Would you still continue to have a majority of day games, or would you have a majority of night games at Wrigley?
I think from a straight competitive standpoint, you'd probably want night games just so players, that's the rhythm they're used to. Major league players are used to sleeping in a little bit, getting ready, coming to the park, getting ready for a night game, and then coming down after the game, doing the whole thing over again. But I love it. I'm a traditionalist. I think Wrigley Field means day games, and I think we can use it to our advantage. And when visiting teams come in here, they're looking forward to coming into Chicago, and they're probably staying out later than our guys are. So those day games can be good for us. I know historically we have not had a real home field advantage. I think we have the worst home record of any team post World War II, but it can be done. I think it was the 2008 Cubs won 55 home games. So it just takes the right kind of players, and we're lucky that the young kids we have coming up are really good character guys. They don't get after it at night. They understand how important it is to get their sleep. I think we can turn it into an advantage.
He's Theo Epstein, Cubs president, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. What was that conversation like when you told Rick Renteria that you were going to let him go?
It was really, really hard. It's something that I did not want to do as a person, as a human being. I recognized it was wrong. We were simply not being fair to Rick. He has his first year under his belt. Did a nice job. We had told him that he was coming back. We had talked about next year. And so you really have to separate your instincts as a person, which is you never want to be unfair to anybody with your responsibilities as an executive. And, it was a dilemma. We had to do the right thing for the Cubs, and in so doing, we recognized we were being unfair to our manager and someone we cared about. So we were just honest with him. We talked to Rick in person before we engaged with Joe. We told him there was a possibility, and then when we gave him the news, I couldn't believe how well he handled it. He told us he told us he understood. He told us, hey, it's Joe Madden. He told us there are no hard feelings, that he appreciated the opportunity, and I couldn't believe
wow
how much character he showed. There's way more. I couldn't have handled it like that, not even close. So he made it easier on us, but it was not, as much as we're celebrating Joe Madden being here, it was a really painful, difficult week. We're being honest about the fact that we were not fair to one of our own, but I think at the same time we were fair to our fan base and to the franchise organization. That takes priority.
Do you want the fans to be impatient, since you brought up the lovable losers, that culture there? What if they're calling for your job? What if they're saying, you know what, we're not going to put up with this anymore? I mean, you can look at both ends of the rainbow here, Theo.
I like that kind of accountability. I think it's good. I want our fans to be impatient. At the same time, we've taken a little bit of a different approach where from day one we've been really transparent about what we're trying to do. I mean, for 100-plus years, they've tried it one way, and we were really clear with our fans that to win in baseball these days, the two most important currencies are money and talented young players, and not in that order. I think talented young players, true impact young players, whether they're prospects or the real deal, or better yet, young players who have established themselves as impact players in the big leagues. That's the most important thing you need these days in this era we're in, post-testing. I'd rather have impact young players than money. And in the Cubs case, now that we've spent 3 years accumulating young talent and minding our dollars, keeping our powder dry, we now have both. We're recognized as having the best young talent in baseball, number one farm system in all baseball. And we have a tremendous amount of payroll flexibility because we have so many minimum salary players on our roster. So we're about to transition from a period where we're just accumulating young talent into a period where we're going to be very, very competitive. And we've been honest with our fans along the way. They're the ones who've paid the price.
Yep.
They've put up with this. I could say for 3 years. I could say for 5 years. I could say for 107 years, because that's how long it's been since they've won. I've been in the World Series since 45. So we owe it to them to be honest with them and to work extremely hard to be playing baseball in October every single year. But we're not going to rush it. We're not going to go out and spend so we can maximize our competitiveness in 2015 at the expense of what I think is something that's developing that's going to be, a 5-year run, maybe a 10-year run. We have the resources to keep this group together. The Chris Bryant's, Anthony Rizzo's, Arlen Castro's, Javier Baez's, Kyle Schwarber's, and we have some of the best young players in baseball, and I think something special is going to happen.
Can I get a old brick from Wrigley? With this whole renovation process, can I get something for my man cave here?
Yeah, I think so. In fact, all you have to do is walk down Waveland or Sheffield right now, and it looks like a war zone. So I'll try to pick something up for you at lunch today.
Yeah, just a brick.
How about an empty can of Old Style? That'd look good.
Well, it's probably mine, but maybe just a brick. But if I'm at Murphy's right now, what am I seeing when I walk out of Murphy's?
If you're at Murphy's, you're seeing the scoreboard intact, and then you're used to looking to the left and right of the scoreboard and seeing bleachers.
Yeah.
Instead, you're seeing open space and a big pile of rubble and bulldozers.
Oh, boy. Going to be ready to go by opening day, right?
Yeah, it's a metaphor for what's going on with the team.
It is.
We'll either be ready for opening day or we won't be. Find out.
Good luck, Theo. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Dan.
All right, Theo Epstein, Cubs president.